Welcome to Nasdaq TradeTalks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining us for this segment, we have Tomas Perfumo, Head of Business Operations and Strategy at Kraken, to discuss Bitcoin performance and what's driving the strength in the Metaverse and NFTs. Tomas, it's great to have you with us. Welcome to Trade Talks.
It's great to be here. Thanks for having me on.
All right, you got it. And let's start first with what we're seeing in terms of Bitcoin performance in January. Is so interesting just how much it correlated with equities. What are your thoughts there?
Yeah, we've seen correlations between Bitcoin, Ether, and risk on or risk off assets shift over time. We have a report out today on Kraken market recap report showing these kind of reverberations. But more recently, we've definitely seen a strong shift in terms of positive correlations with Bitcoin and stocks. We track, for example, a correlation with Nasdaq, which is above 0.6. And also the SPY, which is about half or 0.5. So yes, as of late, it has been very positively correlated between equities and Bitcoin.
And Bitcoin's hash rate also hit an all-time high. What's the significance of that?
Yeah, we like to highlight this in the context of price performance in the sense that on-chain indicators still suggest a very healthy marketplace for crypto. So everything from activity on the blockchain when it comes to transactions, daily users, for example, but also security of the network measured in terms of mining hash rate does demonstrate that there is still confidence and positive sentiment expressed in the ecosystem itself, despite the price performance in the short run.
And when you look at the one-year performance of the Metaverse up over 3,600%, when we talk about the Metaverse sector, what are you including in that?
Yeah, so this really does capture a lot of the NFT work that we're talking about. So we're talking about assets and governance tokens that focus on NFT space. NFTs are more than just art. They could be things like music rights, etc., or even land. And so you have a pretty wide scope in terms of what Metaverse means beyond just tokens and icons that you see on Twitter, for example. So that is what's captured when we think about the Metaverse itself.
And to your point about the activity in NFTs, I mean, it hit all-time highs as well, finishing the month at over 101,000 transactions. Why do you think NFTs are gaining the traction that they are? It's not like it's something physical that you can touch and feel. How is it, this market just becoming increasingly more important?
Yeah, and the exciting part is those transactions are actually on a daily basis. And so we, at the crypto industry, we're psyched about this because it's really it's bringing in a lot of new people into the industry. We'd probably count in the millions of people over the last year. I think this concept around digital assets in general is really a generational curve and demographic shift. And so people who've been born and grew up around the internet do have an appreciation for digital value and intangible goods. And so you have people who value forms of digital expression, whether they be art or in-game assets and things like that. And so we're seeing that play out now with primarily with Gen Z, but also some of the millennial generation as well. And so I think we're just going to see that trend continue over time. And we've seen other companies validate this, like Facebook, for example.
Yeah, and what's so interesting about it, the luxury brand market, I mean, all brands are coming on board with NFTs. I read a report, I think it came out at the beginning of January, Morgan Stanley sees the luxury NFT market in Europe hitting 50 billion by it's either 2025 or 2030, regardless of which year it was. I mean, that's an explosion in such a short time in just one specific segment in Europe in the luxury sector, but you're seeing brands across the board adopt NFT usage.
Totally. And I think the exciting part too is when you think about expression and creative rights and whatnot, a lot of the highlights and focus, traditionally speaking, has been in high-priced goods like what you see at Sotheby's, for example. But we're going to see, I think, in the short run, NFT marketplaces just eclipsing what you see in Sotheby's as a specific example. And so just the accessibility of these assets and making it possible for even an individual to participate, I think is really exciting for people and building these communities out.
So all the headlines, of course, we'll talk about NFTs that are in the hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. Is it accessible for the average person like myself to get access to an NFT, or is this exclusively for a higher end market?
No, it really depends. So again, communities differ across the NFT landscape. And so you might have some communities that, yes, if you want to buy a Bored Ape yacht, a Bored Ape, for example, it's going to cost you a few $100,000 to join that community, the Bored Ape Yacht Club. However, if you want to buy just a piece of digital art, it might be as low as $10. I have a sister who's an artist, and she's selling her NFT for $25. So it really depends on what you like and which community you want to join. And so there's just a bunch of different statuses and tiers around it.
All right, interesting. It is so cool to see how this plays out. Tomas, appreciate the insight. Thanks for joining us on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.
Thank you so much.